Love, laughter, and a touch of stardom. It all starts right here. Kelly and Mark, only on Veilbreaker. It happened in the quiet hours of the night, when the world feels softer, slower, and every heartbeat sounds like a secret. Kelly had always loved that hour. It was their time. Just her and Mark, a cup of tea, maybe some late night laughter over something silly he said. But that night, everything changed. Mark had been fine. At least that's what everyone thought. He'd smiled that familiar smile, kissed Kelly goodnight, and promised tomorrow would just be another normal day. But life, it seems, doesn't always keep its promises. Kelly woke to a silence she couldn't explain. The house was too still. No sound of Mark shuffling downstairs for his morning coffee. No hum of the TV he liked to keep on just for the background noise. She waited. Maybe he was just sleeping in. But something in her heart whispered otherwise. When she climbed the stairs and opened the bedroom door, the world tilted. Mark wasn't moving. His skin was cool, his chest barely rising. For a moment, she froze, just staring, unable to breathe herself. Then came the scream, his name over and over. The sound tore through the quiet, desperate and terrified. She called for help. The seconds stretched into hours. Within minutes, the paramedics were at the door. Machines, masks, monitors, all moving so fast. Yet for Kelly, everything felt painfully slow. They worked on him, voices firm but calm. And she stood back, her trembling hands pressed to her mouth. When they lifted him into the ambulance, she climbed in beside him. Through the sirens and flashing lights, she whispered, "Stay with me, Mark. Please." He stirred once. His lips moved faintly, the sound too soft to understand, and then nothing. At the hospital, it became a blur of white walls, medical jargon, and machines that beeped like ticking clocks. Every beep meant he was still there, still fighting. Every pause felt like a cliff edge. Doctors and nurses moved quickly. Kelly sat in the corner, eyes fixed on the rise and fall of his chest. They said the word she never thought she'd hear. Sudden cardiac event. Critical. We're doing everything we can. She nodded, but her mind was somewhere else, remembering all the little things. The way he always pretended to hate her cooking but ate every bite. How he'd forget his lines on set and make everyone laugh just by laughing at himself. How, just last week, he'd promised they'd finally take that trip to Italy. Mark had always been full of life. Strong, funny, stubborn in the most charming way. But lately, there had been signs. He'd been tired, forgetful, out of breath. Kelly had begged him to rest, to see a doctor, but he'd just smiled, kissed her forehead, and said, "You worry too much." Now surrounded by monitors and wires, she could only whisper those same words back. "You worry too much, huh? Look where that got us." She tried to smile through the tears. Hours passed. The kids arrived, eyes red, faces pale. They gathered around his bed, holding his hands, talking to him as if he could still answer. Michael joked softly, "Come on, Dad, you're just trying to skip chores again." Lola laughed through tears. Even the smallest laugh mattered. It filled the sterile room with love. Outside, the world had already found out. Cameras lined the sidewalks, fans left flowers, candles flickered through the night. But inside that ICU room, it wasn't fame or headlines. It was just a family holding on to hope. Doctors said the next 24 hours would be crucial. His heart was weak, but still fighting. Kelly refused to leave his side. She'd talked to him for hours, telling stories, whispering memories, reminding him of all the things they still had to do. She told him how she'd found that ridiculous shirt he loved, the one she'd accidentally thrown away. She promised to cook his favorite dinner again. Badly, of course. You always said it was terrible, but you always asked for seconds. She laughed softly. Nurses passed quietly, giving her small smiles, hopeful glances. Every small improvement was a victory. Every stable heartbeat felt like a miracle. Kelly wasn't thinking about tomorrow or the news or anything beyond that room. All she wanted was to see his eyes open again, to hear him say her name even once. Because for all the world saw, the perfect couple, the red carpets, the glowing smiles, this was the truth. Two people still madly in love, fighting for one more tomorrow. And tonight, all they ask for is one thing: prayers, hope, a little more love sent their way. Because sometimes, love really is the strongest medicine of all. If this story touched your heart, send a prayer for Mark and Kelly. Let them know they're not alone. Love can move mountains, and maybe, just maybe, it can bring one more miracle tonight. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, subscribe to Veilbreaker, and stay with us.